is this simply a battle for second place to see how close someone can get to Bernie?
I think you're right. Number one, Nevada Democrats want this to be a clear-cut caucus tomorrow. They don't want anything like Iowa happening over again. They don't want to have that mess with the confidence of the election here in this state. A race for second, that's a good question. I'll tell you this. Warren is here in Vegas. Klobuchar is here in Vegas. Buttigieg is here in Vegas. Biden is here in Vegas. Donald Trump is here in Vegas. You know who's not here in Vegas other than Bloomberg, who's not competing in Nevada? Bernie Sanders is not in Nevada. He went to California, and that should tell you everything about how the Sanders campaign feels about this state right now. If you look at the polling in this state, Sanders is winning. But when you go down ballot, not down ballot, when you think about the second and the third tier in this race, you got to look at the unions and what they've done. They did not endorse a single candidate. And the person that might hurt most is Joe Biden. Joe Biden could have really used the support of the culinary union here, but they decided not to get involved. Warren is somebody who wants to have a strong showing as well in order to use the momentum of the debate, obviously, to raise more money and then try to break through in South Carolina. But here's the thing. There is real concern right now that Bernie Sanders is so far ahead in the lead here in Nevada and then might go to South Carolina, crack through, further fracture that Joe Biden support among African Americans, sweep up a ton of delegates in California, currently where he's leading by a large margin in the polls, and then become essentially unstoppable. So Nevada, while it doesn't have a ton of delegates, it can prove to be really important for momentum and showing voters who is the most electable in this primary field. So all eyes will be here. Bernie Sanders might win. But what you're saying about the second and third place, it depends on the margin. If Warren comes in close, if Biden comes in close, that could do enough to slow down Sanders' momentum. I'll leave you with this, Chuck. 77,000 people had voted or caucused in the early caucus. The Nevada Democrats say that a number of those, they say a majority of those, are first-time caucus goers. Turnout tomorrow, does it so far exceed what happened in 2016? Do they double the turnout? Is it just a trickle more so it matches what happened in 2016? If there is a big turnout, who does that benefit? Because that turnout, those new voters, are going to be key to winning in November.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.